Hey there, this is AP Environmental Science Crash Coursable, and today we're going to talk about economics, the environment, and sustainability, how they fit together, what's wrong with how things are, and how to fix it, answering specific questions you may be asking yourself, like how are economic systems related to the biosphere? How can we put value on natural capital, pollution control, and resource use? How can we use economic tools to deal with the environmental problems? How can reducing poverty help us to deal with environmental problems? And probably the most pressing, how can we make the transition to environmentally sustainable economics? Let's get to it. Okay, so how are economic systems related to the biosphere? Well, the obvious reason is simple: natural resources. But before we go any further into this connection with economics, we should probably, get an understanding of the basics of economics. Economic systems are supported by human capital, like labor and intelligence, and also manufactured capital, including things like machinery and factories. But the most important form of capital, and what connects economics to the biosphere, is natural capital, or natural resources, like lumber, metals, oil, water, animals, and the sun. Without this capital, there wouldn't be any economics and, life. So obviously these resources are extremely valuable, and usually when things are valuable, people tend to want them and compete for them. But natural resources are so abundant, there's enough to go around, right? Wrong! Natural resources need to be protected, or they'd be so overexploited that we lose what drives our economics. So who protects them? The answer is the government. Government intervention can correct many failures in market economics, like monopolies and oligopolies, where a small number of sellers from only one to a few restrict competition in the market and result in companies charging high prices on things we need, like oil or internet connection, without which none of you will be watching this video. And that's really bad. Government intervention can force companies to include the environmental costs of their goods and services so that buyers understand the full price of what they buy. They do this through taxing and regulations and requirements, things we're all very well aware of. These are some of the reasons why government intervenes in the economy. Others include providing public service, financial safety nets for the less fortunate, protecting health and safety of workers and consumers, managing public land resources, and preventing or reducing pollution, degradation, and depletion of natural capital. High throughput economies, which boost economic growth by using a lot of resources and energy in short periods of time to produce goods and services. These resources flow through the economy and end up in sinks like air, water, soil, and ourselves, where pollutants and waste build up. So yeah, these are really bad unless you want pollution in your body. Weirdo. Many ecological economists agree that resources are limited and shouldn't be wasted, that environmentally beneficial and sustainable economic growth should be encouraged while harmful, unsustainable growth should be discouraged, and that costs to the environment and our health should be included in market prices, a concept called full cost pricing. Achieving these three things will make for a more sustainable economy. So how can we put values on natural capital, pollution control, and resource use? Well, economists have developed various tools for estimating the values of the Earth's natural capital, and one way is to estimate the monetary worth of the Earth's natural services, like the water cycle, air purification, and nutrient cycling. These are things the Earth does for you for free, so be thankful for that. But natural resources have also have non-use values, such as existence value, a monetary value placed on a resource such as an old growth forest or an endangered species that holds value just for existing. Another is aesthetic value, a monetary value placed on a forest, species, or part of nature because of its beauty. Third is bequest value, also known as option value, the willingness of people to pay to protect some forms of natural capital for use by future generations, so even your children and children's children can enjoy nature. There are different ways to estimate these types of monetary values. One way is to estimate the mitigation cost of how much it would take to offset any environmental damage from practices like deforestation and mining. Another way is to estimate people's willingness to pay for these resources by surveying public opinion to determine how much people would pay to keep them. We can estimate the future value of a resource by looking at the discount rate, an estimate of a resource's future economic value compared to its present value, a tool economists use to predict economic decisions in the future. Not only are natural resources valued, but so is pollution control, which helps to protect these natural resources. Pollution control is another widely used tool for making economic decisions in the future. Finally, cost-benefit analysis is a useful but crude tool done by comparing the estimated costs and benefits of an action. But we also have to minimize the abuse of natural resources, and environmentalists do this by following these guidelines.
Use uniform standards, clearly state all assumptions used, include estimates of ecological services provided by the resources involved, rate the reliability of data used, estimate short and long-term benefits and costs for all affected population groups, compare the costs and benefits of alternative courses of action, summarize the range of estimated costs and benefits.
Now, how can we use economic tools to deal with environmental problems? Well, we can do that in several ways. The simplest way to do that would involve the price of the good. As we discussed at the beginning of the video, in open markets like in the US economy, the prices of goods don't usually include the costs from external harm to the environment and human health. These are called hidden costs because they aren't included in the direct price and hide from our point of view. For example, to drive a car to school every day, you, or more like your parents, have to pay the direct cost of gas, insurance, and maintenance, but they don't pay for the cost from harming the environment in the making of the car or driving it every day releasing carbon dioxide. Government intervention is key to promoting these goods. The Green Seal labeling program promotes consumers to buy more environmentally friendly products. Phasing out subsidies in industries that produce goods which harm the environment is also key to forcing these hidden costs to reveal themselves. Environmental taxes and fees also have advantages to including hidden costs, but they also have disadvantages.
Here are some advantages and disadvantages of environmental taxes and fees. Some advantages are they help bring out full cost pricing, and they encourage businesses to develop environmentally beneficial technologies and goods to save money. Some disadvantages are low-income groups are penalized unless safety nets are provided, and governments may use money as general revenue instead of improving environmental quality and reducing taxes on income, payroll, and profit.
Taxing pollution and waste, rewarding the environmentally sustainable business, and encouraging innovation through incentive-based environmental laws are all ways to reduce and deal with environmental problems like pollution, degradation, and depletion of natural resources and species extinction. Reducing poverty will have a positive effect on the state of the environment by ways of sanitation, population control, and regulatory laws. We can reduce poverty with the help of our nation. By focusing on education, hard work, and discipline, we can change the status of poor developing country to a world-class industrial status country. There are ways we can reduce poverty, such as a massive global effort to combat malnutrition, having universal primary school education and diminishing illiteracy, stabilizing population growth, dramatically reducing ecological footprints of developed and rapidly developing countries, such as China and India, making large investments in small-scale infrastructure such as solar cell power facilities in villages. Such investments could allow developing countries to skip to eco-friendly and efficient economies, and encouraging lending agencies to make small loans to poor people who want to increase their income.
Subsidize environmentally sustainable economic development, penalize environmentally harmful economic growth, shift taxes from wages and profits to pollution and waste, use full cost pricing, sell more services instead of more things, do not deplete or degrade natural capital, live off income from natural capital, reduce poverty, use environmental indicators to measure progress, certify sustainable practices and products, use eco-labels on products, cut resource use and waste by reducing, reusing, and recycling, improve energy efficiency, rely more on renewable solar and geothermal energy, shift from a non-renewable carbon-based economy to a non-carbon renewable energy economy, mimic nature, preserve biodiversity, repair ecological damage, and stabilize human population. There are many environmentally sustainable businesses and careers, such as biodiversity protection, conservation biology, energy efficient product design, environmental economics, environmental health, fuel cell technology, hydrogen energy, pollution prevention, solar cell technology, sustainable agriculture, and wind energy.